Hi, welcome back to The Scent Advocate. Tonight we're going to talk about fragrances that are comforting and green. So for me, the spring is still a little bit chilly, right? I'm in upstate New York and it's warming up a little bit, but the air can still be cool throughout the day here and there. The way the wind moves, it can be pretty windy here. Sometimes the wind is very warm and comforting, other times it's got a little bit of a chill. So it's definitely an interesting time. You feel the energy of the plants growing around you and the very vibrant green. But at the same time, there's a coziness in the clothing we wear. And, we still have a need for that warmth um, while life is blooming outside. And so this makes me think of comforting green fragrances, not as sharp as some herbals can be, and not a gourmand or anything like that, but just the right balance of green and coziness together that I tend to gravitate towards in the spring. So I've got five fragrances I'll talk about tonight. The last one I've gotten quite a few requests for, and I'm really excited to talk about it. It's very popular, and you probably know what it is, but stay tuned till the end to see if you guess correctly. And if you aren't yet a subscriber to the channel, please consider subscribing. We have a wonderful group of folks who join into the conversation and the comments. I read every single one and I love them. Um, Please consider subscribing. And if you like the video at the end, just give me a thumbs up. All right, let's jump right in. The first comforting green fragrance I'm going to talk about tonight is Karst by Aesop. Let's see, there we go. Okay. This one I've had in my collection for a while, but I got it in the colder months. And as a result, I haven't really had a chance to explore it too much. After testing it, of course, is when I purchased it. But so this is a 2021 release. It's an EDP and it's 50 mil. It goes for about $200. The nose behind it is Barnaby Filion. The notes are juniper, bergamot, pink pepper, rosemary, sage, cumin, vetiver, sandalwood, and cedar. I get almost none of that. This fragrance, and I may have talked about it before in a video I did about aquatics, oceanic aquatics, because it definitely leans in that direction for me. Not exactly what you'd expect from the notes I just mentioned, but that is what I get. This is supposed to be an herbal green, not for me. This is very much a salty citrus tempered by a dry sandalwood and a dry vetiver. So for me, I get this image of Namibia, Sandwich Beach in Namibia, and you might have seen it 1,000 times, just not realizing what you're looking at. It's these amazing red sand dunes, and they look pretty high, and then they just kind of drop off into the ocean. It's remarkable. It's as if you've experienced where the desert just abruptly ends and the ocean just abruptly begins. And what a paradox. What an amazing sight, even in pictures. And I think that's what really, those incredible landscapes is what attracts so many people to Namibia. Of course, I've never been there. I would love to go, but in the meantime, I imagine that scene with the sand dunes and the ocean and maybe a big piece of driftwood that's been stripped of all its bark, just kind of laying there solitary on the beach. That's the image this puts into my head. The green comes from, I think, a green aspect to the citrus. So imagine that warmth of the Namibia beach. And that's what you get with this gorgeous stuff, Karst by Aesop. Moving on, we've got next, got some notes. I'm cheating. You don't mind, do you? Okay, good. Luxe, Calme, Volupte by one of my all-time favorites, Francesca Bianchi. I adore her. This is a 2021 release. It goes for about $145. It's a 30 ml and it is an extrait. The notes in here are galbanum, citrus, tropical fruits, ylang-ylang, hyacinth, papanax, iris, vetiver, sandalwood, and benzoin. Now, I've talked about this fragrance not too long ago in my fruity florals because there are fruit notes in here like a tropical fruit salad, and then there's ylang-ylang, which is one of the few florals I get along with beautifully. And yet, there is an unmistakable green note flowing through this. A soft green hug is what you get. The green undoubtedly comes from, the citrus, the vetiver, the probably the hyacinth a little bit. That's a kind of a springy green smelling flower. But the warm hug combined with that green comes from, I think, the apopanax and the benzoin together, giving you that very resinous, comforting embrace. So imagine, a warm wind kind of enveloping you as you stroll barefoot through a garden in the deep south. And it's not too humid yet. It's just warm enough so that those beautiful waxy florals grow and you feel comfortable walking without shoes on outside. And then there's the warmth from that air wrapping you up in this toasty benzoin apopanax, slightly smoky feel. Maybe there's a faint fire burning somewhere in the distance and just letting off a little hint of smoke. And it all comes together into this experience you're having and makes you feel completely safe, warm, and comfortable. That is Luxe, Calme, Volupte by Francesca Bianchi. Love that one. Okay, let's move on to one you may not have heard of, but you should. This is White Rabbit, and this is by Grayi and LV1 Studios. This is a lactonic green fragrance. This is a 2024 release. It's a 30 ml, it's a parfum, and it goes for about $90. The nose behind this is James Wynn. The notes in this are, you're gonna love this, milk, carrot, white pepper, candy, rice tuberose, pandan, white musk, hay, animalics, oak moss, vanilla, and rice paper. But what I get from this, and what the perfumers want you to get from this, is the feeling of a white bunny and candy. But for me, I get that, but it's not a sickly sweet candy. It's comfort in a bottle. And the green comes from that pandan leaf, which is, kind of a Southeast Asian note. It can be used anywhere, but I find that I've noticed it mostly in perfumeries from the Southeast Asian region, and like as an homage to local fragrances, that being a very comforting, almost cooked rice like, banana leaf like fragrance. Absolutely wonderful. So the carrot and the hay gives it that green as well as the pandan leaf. And the carrot is what really, and I think the lactones and the milk note, right, kind of lift it up with a little bit of sweetness, but not too much. And so this makes me think of a story that I used to hear. My mother would read it to me when I was a little girl in Germany, and it was Heidi was the name of the character. And maybe you've heard of this. There's a part of the story where she goes to live with her grandfather up in the Alps, and he sets her up in a room up in a loft, and he makes a bed, but the mattress part of the bed is made from what they called sweet hay. And she found it very, very comforting, and it smelled sweet. And so that's what this makes me think of, very pastoral scene with, maybe a dairy farm and that sweet hay note and the carrots, and it's all coming together. And, images of white bunnies hopping through clovers. I mean, wow, very, very comforting. But I was really intrigued by some of the other fragrances from this house. So have you heard of them? If not, definitely check them out. I had a little hiccup with my order. It was my fault. I ended up ordering the wrong thing and I had to change my order. And they were absolutely wonderful to deal with. I mean, just amazing customer service. So I can't say enough good about this house. They also have some very interesting fragrances in their lineup. So check them out. This is White Rabbit by D. Gray and LV1 Studios. Moving on. Oh, this one. Gosh, you guys. Je ne sais quoi by Theo Cabanel. This is one of my favorites. This one I am very conscious of how much I use because I do not want to use it up. Okay, so this is a 2020 release. It's an EDP. It goes for about $120, and this is 100 ml. And the nose behind it is Patrice Revillard, rice, matcha, violet, sandalwood, tofu, balsam, tofu. Don't you love it? Tolu. No tofu. Tolu balsam. Ah! There's a reason I've got tofu on the brain. I'll explain in a minute. Tolu balsam, vetiver, and gaiac wood. So the rice, and I get a very strong pandan leaf in here too, but that's not listed among the notes. The matcha comes out. The balsam kind of anchors it. It's very subtle, but it's there, perfectly complementing that rice and bright green, not strong green, but bright, comforting green note. Imagine that matcha tea, right? Offset by milk and warm cooked rice. So why I said tofu is because this makes me think of mochi. So for a while, I was a vegan. I was a vegan for like 10 years and I loved it. I had a blast. It was a great experience. I am no longer a vegan, but I always speak highly of that experience. And there was this great, back then, primarily vegan food. I mean, I'm sure other people could eat it and did eat it, but it was very popular in the vegan community. And it was called mochi, and you might have seen it. Very often now you see ice cream encased in this glutinous rice paste, and they call it mochi, but it's really that glutinous rice paste that is the mochi. And there's a smell to mochi, and it's very warm and comforting. Now, typically, mochi is hard, but if you warm it up, it softens up, and that's part of what you get from this. So you just kind of imagine the most comfortable feeling, the most comfortable smell. And then it got me to thinking about what it's like to be physically comfortable. Like imagine an amazing feather bed, right? The most comfortable, non-vegan, unfortunately, right? Feather bed. See why I'm not a vegan anymore. With all due respect, I mean, I don't want to get into the whole, the merits of feather beds or whatever, but imagine a very comfortable bed, a very non-politically charged bed, okay? And you're laying in it, and it's warm, and it's cozy. It's cozy like you'd been laying there before, and your body warmed it up. And, all is right with the world. And there's the smell of home wafting through the air, right? Someone's cooking something in the kitchen, and you're in this warm feather bed. And if there was a smell, this would be it. This green rice, comforting mochi, covering you in safety and security. That is je ne sais quoi. This stuff, if you haven't tried this, you should try this. Like, this is insanely good. I mean, just incredible. Je ne sais quoi by Théo Cabanel. Where do I come up with this? Non-political bedding. Okay. Saving the most popular for last. Have you guessed what it is? Okay. I'll bet you're right. It is Angelique Noir by Guerlain. You knew it. I know you knew it. Okay, I have the legacy bottle of Karst. I've been nursing this one gently. Yeah, of course. I mean, this is beautiful, right? So this is a tough one. This is 75 mil, but I don't believe they make 75 mils anymore. I think you have to go for either a 50 mil, which goes for $325, a 100 mil, which goes for $445, or a 200 mil that goes for $645. Not cheap stuff, but gorgeous. So this is a 2005 release. It's Daniela Andre. It's Angelica, pink pepper, cedar pear, jasmine, caraway, and vanilla. So this is a melange of green and heavy vanilla. It is the classic green vanilla that you hear about. But for me, right, this takes me, I imagine in my head, I'm out on my deck and it's springtime like it is now. And I am repotting flowering herbs that I just got from the nursery. And I'm fast at work doing that, just kind of taking in the sounds and smells of nature around me and these beautiful herbs. And the windows to the house are open. And coming out from the window is the smell of madeleines baking in the kitchen. And all is right with the world. And that is Angelique Noir by Guerlain. So what did you think of these warm, cozy, comforting greens? Did I miss any? I did. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do another take on this. I'll do a part 2, unless you hate it. But be kind in the comments. So you always are, but if you want me to move on to something else, I certainly can. But I have some really great comforting, cozy green fragrances that I didn't get a chance to get to in this video. I didn't want to make it too long. I have a tendency to do that. So let me know in the comments, do you want to see a part 2? I can definitely do that. And once again, if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. If you enjoy content about indie and niche houses and luxury designer brands, I stick mostly to those, and I also try to focus on things you maybe didn't hear of before or you don't hear talked about too much. And that's it for this evening. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.